Right, and we're back. And as you can tell from the title of this week's episode, we're going to be talking about Young Thug's latest album. Another album that came out on my birthday alongside Joy Crooks' album, Punk. Because, Young Thug is a guy who likes to be out there. And I know a lot of people are probably surprised, even if you're not someone who personally knows us, maybe you're from the States who are listening in. They're like, those guys don't really... review that type of music. They listen to more thinking man's type of music.
Yeah,
and
they're busy listening to Body James.
Yeah, I think I never knew how to really articulate it when I was younger, but it really pisses me off, right? Anytime, right? I know you probably have this, John. Anytime, if you're someone who has it doesn't have to be well thought out, but just a thought out opinion on music, immediately people just say, oh, you think about music too much. That means you like the Kendricks of the world and the J. Coles and you hate like Drake and Migos. It's like, okay, fuck you then. Like every time, no doubt. Like it's just this assumption that if you think about music too much, you won't like the music that's probably more derivative. And it's like, why is it one or the other? But here we are, right? So I don't know if you relate to that, but here we are. We're reviewing Young Thug. It is a bit of our element, but fuck it, we can do what we want with the Violent Collective. So I mean, 20 tracks, about an hour and some change. I don't think Young Thug needs much of an introduction in terms of hip hop, but we'll give it anyway.
Yeah, we'll give him a bit.
I mean, Atlanta native. I don't know how many albums he's had now or how many projects he's on.
A lot of mixtapes, but only 2 albums. This is his second studio album. Don't get you started. Yeah. Take a breath.
I forgot about
that. Yeah, his debut studio album was 2019 with So Much Fun. And then obviously he's followed it up this year with Punk. But before that, I mean, how many mixtapes? Given that there's one called Barter 6, then I'm going to suggest that there are more than 10. You obviously have Jeffrey, you had Beautiful Thugger Girls, you had obviously...
There's 3 Slime seasons. So it's 4 Slime seasons. Holy gosh, yeah. The ones with Chris Brown, Slime and B.
Yeah. So the guy has 20 plus projects.
Yeah, he has a lot of projects. I remember when I first heard that and it just like triggered the shit out of me. I was like, what the fuck, bro?
Mm-hmm.
But when I heard, I was like, debut album. Because the thing is, do you know what the problem is with that shit like that, right? That means you could really get considered for like best new artist. But I think even they thought, you know what? We're just going to ignore that.
Actually taking the piss.
Yeah, that's taking the piss. Like, Young Thug has been a thing since Lifestyle came out, 2014? Like, come on, stop it. Like, there's just no way. There's no way.
I'm gonna try and have a look at like what is an old mixtape of his, but like even back, I think the first thing he has on Spotify is I Came From Nothing Too, which was 2011.
Mm-hmm.
So that is 10 years.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
I remember when Brick Squad came out. Because the thing about Young Thug, he was going crazy up in Oceana back in 2014. If you know, you know. So yeah, I just remember. I was like, oh, and I thought the thing is, also the way he was rapping, I was like, yep. Again, don't get me wrong, I do have a good track record, but there are people that I do get it wrong on. I thought, yeah, this guy got in 2 weeks. There's no way. There's just no way. And somehow he is one of the most prolific rappers in Southern hip hop in regards to the States. So yeah, got that one a bit wrong. So we're reading his second album, Punk. I think Young Thug is someone who's always intrigued me, just as general. Again, I'm not a big Young Thug fan. I think he's one of those guys, like, you hear him on a feature, like, oh, he surprised me, or oh, he did what I expected.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I ingest him. But I thought, okay, after So Much Fun, because I do like some of those songs on So Much Fun, like Hot. I do like that song. I thought the song with her Future, what is it? Sup Mate or something like that. I thought that is ridiculous, mate. Like, what? I couldn't believe. There's some songs like I can't believe this is the actual song. Cause I remember people were posting it. You know when people post snippets like, oh my gosh, it's the actual song. Like when Kendrick did Let's Get This Shit. Like it was like that. Yeah. So that made me check out So Much Fun. So I was like, okay, let me check this one out. Like I've always liked him in pieces, but I need to listen to a full album. So here we are.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, what about you? Before I continue.
I've never really got into Thug per se. Like I've listened to his music. He was always kind of on my peripheral pre So Much Fun. He was kind of always there. I knew of him. I'd heard tracks and had never really liked it, like sound wise. But then given that so many people, right, My problem with the Young Thug fans are
okay, here we go.
that they
we're
react.
starting off well.
They react so badly to those that just don't like him, and it comes from. I feel like some of them it comes from a place of like music snobbery, in the sense of like Thug's just like he's actually like a genius. Like the vision of this guy, like oh no, you're doing it wrong. You're classic. You're listening to the words. No, that's where you're going wrong, mate. Don't listen to the words that he's saying.
Oh,
Listen
actually,
to how
you're
he's
too
saying it.
sober. Like,
Yeah,
what the fuck,
yeah.
whatever the fuck that means, bro.
Which kind of annoys me, right? Because I listen to a fuck lot of music. Like, I don't think people understand how much music some people actually listen to. But we listen to a lot of music, and I've given it a go. I've listened to a lot of his projects, and I mean, I enjoyed elements of Barter 6. I thought were really good. I've enjoyed tracks here and there, but in terms of just the appeal is not there for me.
Wait, didn't you cover Jeffrey as the March?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, what do you think of that?
Oh no, I did not enjoy that.
Damn, that's like his most like revered one, I think.
I thought just some of the like you used the word, what was it? Derivative or like contrived. I just feel like some of the tracks I was just not there for, like Harambe and all these ones. I'm like, I get that, with all the like imagery and he's wearing that like dress and all this kind of stuff, but like just track for track, it didn't. It so far hasn't really done it for me.
Okay, fair.
But that said, I 100% can appreciate elements of his artistry, his influence. He's definitely pioneering in his style, the way of rapping, massively.
For sure.
Like his kind of flow, his like breath control, all these kind of things I think are super impressive, and he's a brilliant artist, but I'm not going to sit down and listen to a Young Thug album and enjoy it. I'll say that.
Yeah, it's like snow. You like it for the first few minutes. You're like, oh, I love making snowballs. Oh, this is so much fun. And then the ice starts seeping through the glove and you're like, shit, my hands are turning purple. This is actually shit, fam. I think they said you can't enjoy it for too much. Can't have too much of a good thing. But I agree.
Yeah. And in terms of like Rollout, I imagine you saw the whole, was it a Rolls Royce? Or what car was it that they were like smashing up in kind of, I think it was him and Gunna in like promotion for this album. Punk.
I definitely didn't see it. And if it involved Gunna, I didn't see it.
Yeah, they had. I think they had some kind of luxury car, and they were standing on it with baseball bats, smashing it, because they're wild. They don't conform. If they were here, they'd be hanging out in Camden. They are just they're punks, So yeah, anyway, they did that kind of publicity stunt, and there were like photographers and everything standing around them taking photos. It felt so cringe, but anyway. So yeah, obviously then we get Punk. Let's go on kind of first impressions when it dropped.
Let's purely go by the name cover first.
The name I was going to say for the name and the cover. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really weird, man. And I know Young Thug is known to do this, but like, it just reminds me of someone I know who's quite narcissistic, just like a person. Where it's like, it looks like he's gonna like fucking make out with himself, bro. It's like, do you need to look at yourself so intently? Like, what is going on here? Like, the cover was really weird. Obviously, it feels like you got like two sides to Young Thug. Like, one is like playing a violin, and the other one is like, I don't know, playing with jewelry, counting cash. I feel like I'm not too sure what's going on there. I don't really know what's going on. I don't know what's in the middle of them. There's just a lot going on that I'm not sure why it's going on. Yeah. I'm not sure.
So it's definitely him kind of like, from the name, Punk is always kind of associated with like, like the culture that wants to kind of be different and go outside of the norms, kind of ignore the status quo, all that kind of thing. Do what's not normally, socially, not necessarily socially acceptable, but like, live in kind of anti to what's accepted. So yeah, I kind of was expecting that soundscape as well. I was expecting, Punk. He's kind of done Beautiful Thugger Girls. A lot of like heavy guitar ballads and all that kind of stuff. So he's experimented with it before. So I was expecting him to fully lean into that and to carry that through the whole album, both in terms of like thematically and sound.
Yes.
That's what I was expecting. What were you expecting?
I was expecting the exact same thing.
Yeah.
100%. And I thought that, and even the first song, I was thinking, okay, cool. Like, because even when I heard like the whole guitar thing, I was like, okay, cool. This is kind of what I signed up for. It's called punk. Young Thug has always been a bit out there in terms of experimentation. So I was like, okay, cool. Like, I'm with this. But then when I listened to the whole thing, it felt like it was just another Young Thug album. To be fair, yeah, it didn't feel like it was a punk theme or he was trying to do anything different with it. I'm not saying you should, but it's like it's like Drake's CLB, right? You kind of get the whole idea that you're gonna do something with this like title and cover, and then nothing comes from it. It's like, okay, so yeah.
Did you talking about that first song, Die Slow? Did you hear the Tiny Desk concert when it came out?
No, I haven't heard the Tiny Desk.
Okay, because that's I think it was like an outdoor one. He was like standing there playing the guitar. Looked like some kind of like really well manicured garden.
Okay. And
this was one of them. So yeah, let's start with that. Die Slow. Yeah, like what you said, first song comes on, I'm like, cool, yeah, he's going for the concept this time. Like here we go, boys. Kind of enjoyed it, it's low key, got the guitar there. It's really like almost confessional. He's like, oh, I told the lawyer that my brother ain't going back to prison. I don't care if I've got to turn the guy Jehovah's Witness. Searching for God's soul because I know something's missing. I was like, oh, this is really, I'm into this. I thought, gets really personal, really introspective, cries some Thug tears.
Nice one. Okay.
Thank you. What were you thinking from the first song?
You know what? I think right after the first little verse, before it breaks into the first interlude, that's probably the only part of the song that gave me hope. Right after that, maybe even before that, I'm not gonna lie, because once I started listening to what he was saying, I was like, this kind of sets the precedent for things to come, right? I'm just gonna have I'm gonna throw out a few lyrics, right? So there was one part where he's talking about missing his son's birthday, right? Fair enough.
Yeah.
And then right after, he's talking about seeing the beach from his penthouse suite. He's like, oh, not a big deal though. Not a big deal. It's like, so what's important right now? Literally, you're not gonna expand on missing your fucking son's birthday. He was, oh yeah, July 15th. Okay, cool. What did you do then? No, just penthouse, just looking at some views. Nothing big though. It's like, what is this? Do you know what I mean? Again, I know it's Young Thug. I know I have to mind fuck my frame to be like, this is Young Thug. You know what this reminds me of? This is an aside, innit? Fuck it, bare tangents today. When people recommend you certain TV shows, and this is where I messed up when I was younger, when people were like, oh my god, Dexter, Breaking Bad, Line of Duty, Scandal, they'll say, oh my god, these shows are so good. And the same with anime, because you know what's funny, because I think anime people look at TV shows and be like, oh, you don't even get good storylines, you should come to the anime world, we get so much better storylines. And I realized both sides are fucking ridiculous, because people in general, because obviously when I watch something, I'm like, right, lights off, laser focused, I'm watching every scene, every action, is that going to allude to something like a Game of Thrones, right? But then I realized most people don't even fucking watch TV. They watch it whilst they're on the phone. They watch it whilst they're doing something else on their laptop or talking to their friend. Like, you know what I mean? Or they're, I don't know, making uni notes. Like, they don't actually watch the show. And that's why they think it's the best shit ever. When I realized that, it put everything into perspective for me. Do you know what I mean? It's like, these people are like 50% capacity watching these shows. Anyways, to bring it back.
I see where it's going now. Yeah.
Yeah. To see it, to come back, right? So obviously he's talking about all this shit, right? And one part that just absolutely sent me. I just don't understand this lyric at all. Sorry. Is when he says, he says, always do I want to be gay.
Yeah, I heard that.
Heard that,
yeah.
What is that? You know what it is? I wasn't thinking about it before, but now you brought it to my attention. I'm second guessing things. Obviously, nothing wrong with being gay, but like, why have you now brought that into my peripheral? Now I'm thinking about it. It's like there was a time, right? I was in the tube, and obviously now people are wearing masks and stuff like that. And a guy wore a mask, right? On the mask it said 100% human, and I thought, I mean, I assumed, a guy tall with hair, you are human. But now you put 100% human in your mask, it's making you second guess things. But whatever. And the fact he says, I had her sending pictures to my mom when I was 8.
Yeah, yeah. But then the next is, I feel like this is the thing about Thug, right? He can say these lines earlier on where you're like, oh, that's really deep. Like that's, doing it over these kind of like strummed guitar notes, and it could be like a stroke of genius, right? But then he'll say a line like that, and then he'll say, just because I always knew I was going to be great because my coach told me I was slow, but I was running at a fast pace. I'm like, cool, okay, you're like, it's not a clever metaphor. It's not like a double entendre or anything.
No.
Like, yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
There's some lyrics in this that are just... It's obviously very stream conscious, and that's the point of this track.
Yeah,
right?
100%. Yeah,
He's just, literally just free word associating. But you're right, it's like when those kind of like optical illusions or whatever, or like nice images, you're like, oh, don't get too close though, like don't go and stand up right next to it, because then you actually see what it looks like, and then you do, and you're like, oh shit, like that's what he's saying. Because I think you could listen to this track very high or very drunk, or just passively and be like, yeah, that sounds kind of nice, I bet he's saying some real deep shit. And then you listen and he's like, I always knew I wasn't going to be gay, I always knew I was going to be great. Like,
I always knew I wasn't going to be gay. It's like, why did you have to say that, man? Take us to the next song. Is there a song that caught your eye? Okay, let's discuss it.
Right. I feel like we've got to talk about Bubbly.
Okay, cool.
Because I feel like at this point, if you're listening with us and you've got the track list in front of us, so you've got a couple of seconds to go find it. So obviously, Die Slow, first track. It's a 20-track album. We get to Bubbly, track number 12. By this point, ladies and gentlemen, the gig is up. It's not punk. We're back. We're back. We've forgotten about that kind of after Recognize Real. By the time you get to kind of Contagious, Peeping Out the Window, the gig is fully up. This is just a rap album, and it's Young Thug back to his ways. Bubbly obviously features Drake, features Travis Scott. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like the start of this. I like the energy that Travis Scott brings on this. It's one of the much more interesting songs on the album. I didn't like Drake just being there as well. It felt like it just didn't feel natural. People will say, "Oh, I love Drake probably gave us one of the best." But I'm sure someone said that Drake's given us one of the best verses of the year. But he sounds more animated. I'll give you that. He sounds more excited to be there, but didn't need him. Thug and Travis is enough on a song. I think there was enough energy there as well. But as soon as you put Drake onto that, it just, I don't know, it took away a bit of something for me. But it's a big song. It's probably one of the bangers of the album.
Yeah. I just don't get why Travis Scott and Young Thug are kind of surrendered to a 2009-esque type of instrumental, and then when it's Drake's part, we actually come back to 2021. I don't get why that was a thing. It just kind of felt like Drake was slapped on right at the end because streams and all that stuff. The song was already done. Fuck it, put Drake on it. It's gonna get the streams up. Surprisingly so, because again, I'm one of those people I take Travis Scott for the vibe completely. I'm never gonna be oh my gosh, I need to go to a Travis Scott concert. I'm not one of those people. But he was probably the best performing guy on this whole thing. He was legible for one. Shout out to him. Improvement. Do you know what I mean? I feel like he had some bars. I liked it. But yeah, I didn't like Drake's part, to be honest. I get it, but I just felt he wasn't saying anything really.
That bit you said is very funny though. That they changed. They're like, "No, Drake's coming in. We need to change the sound of this."
Completely.
He can't do it like that. We need to give him something more modern.
That's literally what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's Texas Ranch so big. That shit is perfectly different. I mean, I guess the cool line was been on the charts for 500 weeks, or somebody loved when I speak. Okay, yeah, fair enough. I mean, it's And he does that whole thing. I think when Drake has a new ad lib, he does not let it go. He definitely
fucking loves
so
it.
hard. That whole what?
What?
He does that all the time. All the time.
What?
He's doing that since Sicko Mode, but it's like, okay, we like on Sicko Mode. He always does that shit. He's like, what? Fuck her on the beat. OBO life not cheap. It's like, oh, whatever, man. I'm done with this already. Like, you know what I mean? So yeah, I didn't like this one. To be fair. But speaking of someone in the big three, even though I think that term needs to die anyways, because it's really a big two. We have Jermaine Cole. He's teamed up with Thugga again. J. Cole and Young Thug have had a long-standing relationship, actually, because obviously when Young Thug was popping up, J. Cole had him on tour. He was one of the openers. So they've been working together for a long time. Obviously, the London, which did way bigger than it should have, in my opinion, because that song is not that lit, man. Sorry. So they're back again with another song. What's it called? Stress. I don't know how much we've talked about this year, obviously, with the Joyner Lucas feature.
That wasn't good. That was not good. That was one of the worst songs I've heard this year.
There was another feature he did, and I was just like, what the fuck is this? I can't remember what it was. What other song has J. Cole been on this year that we spoke about? Oof. There was a couple other, but this is adding to that run, right? And I just think this song, again, is like, it just feels like, you know what it is? It's like, you know, Dragon Ball Z, right? Where Goku's like charging up the spirit bomb, and after that he's like, oh, I'm fucking done for like maybe like a few episodes. It feels like that's what happened with J. Cole in the off season. It really felt like he put all his eggs into that, and after that he's just been right back to like 2018 or something. No, before that, because 2018 was a good year. Like KOD shit. Like, it just feels so lazy, man. Like, gosh, like J. Cole is so boring. And the thing about J. Cole as well, right? It's like he's so conflicted in who he wants to be, and at this point in his career, it's just like, I'm tired of it. 1 minute it's like, money don't mean a thing, you know, love yours. The next minute it's like, do the math. 100 minutes, like, who do you want to be? And the thing is, you know what I've noticed about J. Cole? Do you know why J. Cole's a fucking prick? He always does this, right? So he really shits on artists like Lil Pump, like, you know, Lil whatever, trying to act like their music's like throwaway. But he only goes on his braggadocious shit on artists like this. He will never do this with a thoughtful man like a Royce the 5'9" or you know, he will never do that shit. It's only when he's with the guys he thinks are like trappy, then he wants to bring out his fun side. It's like, you're just a cunt, mate. Because if you're, I feel like it reveals a lot more what you think of those artists. It's because you can't even just put down like a solid verse. And to us, if you look at what he's talking about in the verse, sorry, I know I'm going on long. What he's talking about in the verse, it feels like it's the exact same shit from the London, where he's like, you know, do the math. I've got like a bird every word. Like, he's done the same thing before.
The flow is very, very similar. Like, the flow is exactly the same to what we've heard before.
And even then, this is, again, another example of J. Cole's conflict of interest. Barely check my account, nigga, I'm admitting it. Fuck around on my bread, bet you I'm gonna find out. Which one is it then? Which one is it? You're just spending money like you don't know it? Or if you rent it special, if you spend my money, I'm gonna know it. It's like, whatever. Yeah, I'm not a fan of this one. What do you think? It's not the
worst J. Cole feature I've heard. I was disappointed because it's track 2, and we've already forgotten the introspective stuff, and we've already moved on to like chest beating and saying that, you know, he's got a gap and he's on your street with a pistol. And it's obviously that's not J. Cole. We know that, and it's just annoying because it's track 2, and I was expecting a little bit more from this album, but I mean, we've got Young Thug before J. Cole talking about, you know, he doesn't know if he wants to caress you, and he's Rocky Balboa, and he's talking about Huaraches. Is that how you pronounce that?
Huaraches,
yeah. That was 5-6 years ago. No, wasn't a fan of the song. Wasn't the worst J. Cole feature though, I'll say that. Like, I don't mind the flow, but in terms of subject matter,
Sorry, I think of Heaven's EP. Sorry, not even a feature. Heaven's EP.
Okay, cool.
Heaven's EP, Joyner Lucas thing. Now this just feels like, where did the off season go? Like, fuck me, man. Yeah.
We felt that was. We felt there was a bit of growth with at least with the off season.
Yeah, I thought we were getting somewhere. Like,
Yeah.
we're getting nowhere now. Yeah. Any other features you want to talk about? I mean, there's a couple posthumous features. One of them being your boy Mac Miller. The other one
Yeah.
being Juice WRLD. Do you want to get into that?
Let's get into Juice WRLD first. So yeah, obviously Juice WRLD is on Rich Boy Shit.
Some of these track names, man.
Yeah. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, I mean, in terms of like just I don't know, man. Let him rest in peace. That's what I say. Like the guy's been dead how many years now?
A few years now, man.
A few years now.
Yeah, it's been a few now.
And yeah, I don't know. I feel like this is the point in the album. Like I say, you know, around the like Contagious, Peeping Out the Window, like the album's fully switched by this point. Like I feel like this is where it really goes south, the album.
Yeah.
Like it really drops off like significantly.
Yes. I agree.
Is in like, yeah, this is like one of the biggest like drop-offs in an album I've heard this year.
Fair enough. I can't even disagree with you. I can't. I mean, this song is... Don't get me wrong, yeah. Peeping out the window. Like, if I'm just sitting there driving around at night, I feel it. You know, Future, I fuck with it. For this to come out right after, oh my god. Like, man, this song is bad. Like, I think don't get me wrong. I know Young Thug and Calamari is synonymous. I get it. I like Calamari too. You know what I mean? I get it. But that hook is just like, wow. Like, no. And even he has this quote. I think it's even in the hook. Brown diamonds on, bitch. I'm Nestle. I mean, it was one line that was funny though. I can't lie. It said, having sex with your old lady, I lost calories. That's funny. That is funny. But apart from that, this song is a complete miss. Like, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. No. And Mac Miller, what do you think of Mac? He closes out the album pretty much with the song Day Before.
Apparently the story behind this, I think he was on the Breakfast Club, wasn't he? Young Thug was on Breakfast Club, and he said this was the last track that Mac Miller made, or at least this was the day before he passed away. So yeah, I guess in that sense you want to kind of give it more, maybe be inclined to kind of like it more than it is. But yeah. I don't know if I'm a fan of this one, to be honest. I mean, I like Mac Miller, just anything that he does.
Right.
But the song in general, it feels like we've suddenly, it's like we've forgotten what the last 13 songs were, and he's like, oh shit, okay, quick, let's reel this back in. Let's slap the Mac Miller song at the end, and let's remind everyone that this is punk. I do that deep shit, and yeah, it felt a bit tokenry, given what the previous 12 tracks were. Yeah,
and I think that's the thing about posthumous features. I just they're never
tokenistic. Sorry, not tokenry.
Yeah. I just don't think they're ever done in good faith. I don't think it's like, oh, you were needed for the song so badly, and when you made it, it was like, oh my gosh, I had to have you on there. That's why you're there. It's just like, oh, I have this old demo that I was never going to use, but now you're dead. It actually makes financial sense for me to use it, so I'm going to use it. That's how it always feels to me. Do you know what I mean? So it's annoying. Mac Miller sounds good on it. Yeah. He's not saying much. He sounds good on it. I'm not gonna lie, but like, it's just a weird, and even the way the song ends is quite abrupt. It's quite weird.
Yeah. I think just it spoils it given what's come before. And let's talk about what comes before.
Yes.
Where do we begin?
We need to talk about the soul vampire that is Gunna. We need to talk about him. This guy, he needs to get out. He needs to get out. I'm so sorry, guys. I know there's people out there like Gunna. I am sick. The only thing I know about Gunna is that he's potentially fucking on Chloe Bailey. That's it. That's the only thing I know. In the past like 3-4 years, this guy's been relevant. I cannot understand. And usually I'm one of those guys like what you like, guys. Gunna just makes every song like 10 times more boring. Like automatically, it just sucks the energy from the song. It's like, oh man, I'm sorry. I know. I just spilled out a lot there, but I feel like we gotta start there. He's on 3 songs. Why do you need him on 3 songs? He's not that late. I'm sorry.
It feels a bit unnecessary.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, talking of those tracks, he's obviously on Injure My Wrist, and he's on Recognize Real. I'll say of the two, I'll say that first of the two.
He's on one more, I think. He's on one more.
See, oh yeah, he's on 18 Love You More, which, oh fucking hell, we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Of the 3 tracks, Recognize Real is the better of the 3 for me.
I agree, yes.
I think because we're still in that, we're still being duped into thinking that we're getting something that we're not with the album. So yeah, I mean, obviously the guys have made so much music together, so you can tell there's that relationship and there's that trust, whatever you want to call it, when you're artists and you work together. So it wasn't the worst track, that Recognize Real, but then yeah, Injure My Wrist and Love You More were dreadful. Love You More is, I think this is one of the worst songs. It sounds so dreadful.
Yes.
Like we said with the Mac Miller one at the end, like why are you suddenly returning to the acoustic, like minorly introspective stuff right at the end, as if the previous 10 tracks haven't happened. Like we haven't forgotten. Like it's just happened.
And with this guy Nate Royce, like it feels like some sort of pop singer just doing the hook as well. It's like,
I mean, it'd be embarrassing if it turns out that he's like a huge deal. Raised on a farm in rural Arizona.
It sounds like that. It does sound like that.
Which would make sense if the rest of the album was that. But yeah, I think just inconsistency is what makes that track just so out of place.
Yeah. I mean,
but go on about Gunna, the other 2 tracks. How did you feel about?
I mean, exactly how you feel. Injure My Wrist was fucking, but like it's one of those songs like, what? It finished? Like, okay, like he's just I like the production on Injure My Wrist, but he's just a soul stealer, man. It just feels like anyone who's on a song with Gunna, and it's not just him. 21 Savage, Roddy Ricch, anyone he's on a song with, the song automatically becomes some quiet little dun-dun-dun-dun. And you're just like reflecting on some bullshit every time with Gunna. I don't know what it is, man. It's just ridiculous. And then the other one, Recognize Real, it's not bad. Out of the 3, it's the most bearable, but it's still like, I just don't know what it is, right? And I might just be a hater. There's one funny line though on Recognize Real where it's like Rockin' Rick Owens got the ones that say cunt. And it's just funny because obviously on this side of the Atlantic, you can use that however you want. Over there, it's like,
they're like,
dare you?
Yeah, like, the audacity.
But yeah, obviously there's like, oh, he's got a jacket that says cunt. It was asking like, people just call you a cunt on the street if you do something. So, you know, it's just funny. I thought that's funny.
It is funny. Should we, talking of funny lines, should we talk about the second track? No, sorry, not the second track, third track, the kind of 2-part Stupid Asking. Yeah. Because there is a line on there, I think we both know what it is. So anyway, you know, you kind of get this, I'd say one of the highlights of the album is actually the transition between Stupid and Asking. I think it's brilliant. I think it's really well done. It's really well mixed. It sounds amazing. And then, fucking hell, suddenly I'm trying to get in your guts, show me your guts. And I'm like, this is wild. The guy's just been like pouring his heart out. And now he's like... I
mean, you're going too far now. Pouring his heart out. He's just saying... I mean, I get you. But no, I mean, maybe I'm not as high as a transition as you are, but like, I just thought the song was just so funny. Like, just the hook, it just feels like I could just imagine how that song was created. Just high as fuck. Just there with this little guitar, just repeating the word stupid just over and over. Like, do you know what I mean? I mean, I've used this meme before, but this one more so, it feels like that Family Guy meme where Lois and Peter are like playing the banjo on stage high as fuck and they think they're smashing out of the park. It really does feel like that, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, you know, this way it says stupid. It's just like, when I don't want to put my friend, it's just stupid. It's funny, I can't lie. I know it's speaking from a perspective of a woman, from what I can gather. But in Asking is the not the side I like more. I think Asking, I get it. It's a nice little segue. It's smooth. It is a smooth segue.
Yeah.
But I just don't like the song. Also, yeah, I'm trying to get in your gut. Show me your guts. It's funny, but apart from that, I ain't really getting.
I mean, they're good. This is the problem, right? There's such, and I think if you can characterize the album in one, like in a couple of different words, like just outrageously inconsistent is one of them. Because for me, you have moments like that where I'm like, oh, you know, that transition is really, really nice. The previous song, the J. Cole one, like there's, I really like the kind of the intro to that song. There's those kind of like, is it like shimmery keys, like shimmery like keyboard notes, and like there's like the strum guitar, and the keys kind of go on in the background while J. Cole's rapping. They kind of come in and out. I'm like, oh, the like instrumental, that's really nice. Like I really like the sound of that. And then you get something like let's have a look. Scoliosis.
Oh my god.
You get something like Scoliosis, which is, I've said this about a few tracks, but I think this is the worst track on the album, possibly by far. There are a lot of contenders. There are a lot of contenders. This has to be. No, fuck it, no. But was this a mistake? Is my first question.
I think this is what happened, right? Like no more than 15 minutes prior to this song's creation, someone told him what scoliosis meant, and he just thought, "Oh, what skeleton? I've got a Cartier skeleton. Holy shit, I'm gonna use that." And he just had to fudge it in, like, you know, when I don't know, like when you're building IKEA furniture and it's just not fitting, he's just gonna shove that shit in. I feel like that's what he did with even the way he says scoliosis. It's like, bro, what is going on? This song is wild, man. It's so bad. And I think it's again reminiscent of like, why have you just gone back to like mid 2000s with these cheap ass beats? Like, what was going on? Like, you're Young Thug, mate.
This guy, was he Lil Double O? Wholly uninspiring. Like, it does not sound like he's enjoying himself at all there. It's I mean, yeah, it feels like it's a mistake. It feels like who actually let this on. You're talking about 15 minutes before. It sounds like they mixed, and put the song on there in 15 minutes.
I agree.
Because it is terrible sounding. Like, terrible.
Yeah, I literally have written down, no, this song isn't the one. The mixing is weird too. Yeah, the mixing is very weird. Like, his vocals are so... It feels like you can feel like his vocals and the beat are just not on the same page at all. Do you know what I mean? It feels like he's recording from like his phone. No joke. It's so bad. Don't have much to say about that.
Also, the beat is fucking atrocious.
Oh yeah,
like
everything.
I can't even hear the like... I mean, they're not live instrumentation, but like they're like digitally produced trumpets. I can barely hear them. They're like barely audible. Just a terrible, terrible song.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know if you noticed, there's a whole run of tracks, right, in the middle, which are all under 3 minutes. I think it starts with Scoliosis, and it goes all the way to like, is it Dropping Jewels or 50 Day Dead? Just a lot of short songs.
Dropping Jewels is a bit longer, and then 50 Day Dead again is a short one.
It's just bare filler. Honestly, don't get me wrong, I already know what I'm dealing with. But one song I thought I had quite a bit of potential is Faces. Okay. I liked it. It had a bit like an R&B type of thing with the bass, like it felt like something was gonna happen, but the mixing was. It felt like, you know, Babby's first Fruit Loops type of shit. It was that bad. Like, what the fuck, bro? And then some of the lines are cheap, don't get me wrong. I know it's Young Thug. Like, trying to rob, your chances are slimmer than shady. Right, okay. Yeah. Like, I get that. But yeah, I felt like the song, it had something to it. Like, I was like, oh, the production's interesting. And then it just felt like it was like halfway there. It felt like a demo. Dropping Jewels, because I think I got to be positive right now. That's probably one of the best songs on that album. Okay. I feel like the first verse really went in when he's like, I told my son if he wanted to live, you might have to catch a body. I told my son he ain't a cheerleader, might have to catch a body. Do you know what I mean? He's driving named Joe, but he still can't do it sloppy. Like, I like that. That was kind of cool. And he's talking about his daughter as well, saying there was one song, there was one part talking about his girl where he's like, how the fuck you never ain't wrote a song? Same reason your fan ass never wore thong. I was like, yeah, I like that. The way he talks about women, Young Thug, it's quite entertaining. I can't lie. As a woman enthusiast myself, should I say? I do like the way he talks about
I
women.
I don't like when you say that.
So yeah,
I agree. There are some bars on that. Yeah, I like the beat on it. Bit toned back, very like with that bar you quoted, Posthumous on that one. It's very. He's been around longer, but it's kind of what we've seen from Vince Staples this year on his really short album, like that super nonchalant delivery, and what like delivery of bars that are like deadly or like talking about death.
Yes.
And it obviously just shows we talked about it with Law of Averages and all those kind of tracks. Like it just shows the real effect that kind of those experiences have on you later in life. Because obviously young Thug has kind of talked about a lot of experiences that he's had, and like people like Lil Baby, the rapper. I think there's a story even where Young Thug was like paying Lil Baby to go to the studio and to like leave, quote unquote, the streets. So yeah, like he's had these experiences, and it's interesting to see when he just like delivers bars like that, and you're like, oh shit, like yeah, he's lived this.
Yep.
Yeah. Talking of what's the word? Contradictions. Let's talk about Icy Hot with our very own Doja Cat.
I mean, I can't lie. Doja Cat came through, man. I liked Doja Cat's part. I really did. He said my Tiger Bomb gave him that Icy Hot. That's a bar. Sorry. He called me Doja Rat. I chewed through all these cheese. Like, she did what she had to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was Young Thug who didn't come to play, but I think Doja Cat was fine actually.
I would argue her first bit wasn't good. The auto-tune in her voice was horrid.
Oh, okay, yeah, fair.
Like absolutely horrid. Because she has some good features. Like when she's on other people's stuff, not too bad. But yeah, I think the auto-tune on her voice. I think when it was like going up at the end of the notes, they like auto-tuned it really strangely.
Yeah.
And that did not sound good. The song, I know, so people don't get at me here. I'm going to put a little footnote here. I know that Young Thug has been around so much longer than Travis Scott and influenced Travis Scott, but this song sounds like a poor impersonation of either it's the flow, the delivery, and the instrumentation of this specific song sounds like a poor impersonation of Butterfly Effect and 5% Tin.
It's you think so?
Yeah.
Fair.
100%. Because I went back to listen to Astroworld to find which song it was, and there's a weird like cadence that he does there. I did not like Young Thug on this.
Okay,
I didn't think he really.
I didn't like him on it. I didn't think of that. Maybe I had to go back and listen, but that is not what came to mind. So fair enough. I'll go give that a listen.
Yeah. Let's have a couple more tracks to talk about. I mean, I think by this point of us talking, how long have we been going? We're going like almost 40 minutes. You've probably got the idea that we're not fans of this. It's pretty wildly inconsistent.
Yeah,
and
I'll talk about one more song and then I'm done. I just want to end on a positive note. I think we talked about most of it. Obviously, the song Yeah. No, just no. There was one song. Okay, again, like I said, Peepin Out the Window. I think that's one song that could actually end up on the playlist. Contagious, catchy hook.
Yeah,
but
I just wish things sort of reciprocated. They always told me I was going places. Now I'm just surrounded by different faces.
Yeah, catchy hook, but it's okay. I think the song that had potential, I thought it was funny, was Hate the Game.
Okay.
Right at the end.
Yeah.
It was just weird, because I don't know if you caught that, but right at the start of that song, there's like church bells going. Like, when the clock strikes an hour. I was like, what the fuck's that there for? But yeah. But he's obviously talking about, like, obviously fucking friendship groups.
Yeah.
Don't Hate Me, Hit the Game Baby. I thought it was catchy, but that's really it for me. I think there's one more example of where you talk about the whole Vince Staples shit, where they kind of say a line that was really nonchalant. Let me just try and find it. Just trying to find out where I put it. There was one. It was Fifth Day Dead. When he's like, I called him up and I told him what he said. He texted me back 5 days and he was dead. I was like, what? I was like, fucking hell. What did he say? What did he say? Yeah, it was Fifth Day Dead. I was like, yeah, that threw me off because he was just kind of singing it. And he was like, yeah, why'd you get him killed, Thugga? What did he say? But yeah, that was it for me. Very, very missable.
Yeah.
I think in terms of 2021, let's get into it. Drake is so lucky because he would have had the cake, I'm not gonna lie, for probably worst project 2021 for me. But that doesn't mean, that's the thing, this is not how averages work. Just because he's not at the bottom doesn't mean he's in the middle of the pack. No, he's still not at the bottom of the pack, but he's not the worst. This has to be on the lower end of 2021 for me. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I think, and people will, this is where the logic flies out the window when you talk with people about albums, because they will discount track list and the bad songs as if 3 or 4 good songs make up for it. They do not. Okay, you've got 20 tracks here. We mentioned maybe more than 10. Yeah, I'd say probably reaching 13 tracks that are not good. They're like objectively, they are not good tracks.
Yeah.
So that's already reaching, what's that, 65, say, that's right, 65% of the album is not good.
Straight not good, fair enough.
The like, thematically and like sonically, it drops off after the first, what are we saying, first 4 tracks?
Yes.
First 4 or 5 tracks, it kind of drops off. So again, you're less than 20% into the album and it drops off sound-wise, and you're like, okay, what's going on here? We've just got old Thugga here. We've got Gunna on 2 songs. You don't need to bring Gunna to the party every time, honestly. Yeah. It's like that joke you made a few episodes, probably a few months ago, where you're like, you want to go out and play, and he's like, you've got to take your little brother with you. Like this is the US version of it. Who was the example?
That was for
Young Ads or something.
That was for, yes, that was a year ago now. Fuck me, John. Yeah, that was a year ago. Yeah. I remember that one.
You're like, you don't need to bring young Ads along every time. So just, you don't, Gunna doesn't have to be there. Yeah, I think just really disappointing.
For sure.
Same old stuff in that middle 60% of the album.
I feel like when it comes to the audio crooners of the world, Young Thug and Drake have very similar careers in the sense that they will give you a single you really like every year. Yeah. Like obviously last year was Go Crazy. And obviously Hot was the year before. Like ultimately he always has like a big single. But then when it comes to the albums, you're like, fuck the hell. But like I don't know what's going on. Because the thing is, people act like it's a thing where I don't like this type of music. I like Roddy Ricch. I like I'm warming up to Lil Baby one more. I definitely like Lil Baby way more than Gunna. I'll tell you that right now. So it's not like I don't have a taste for this music. It's just that I still want it to be good. Do you know what I mean? Like I still want to sing along. Like I still like to sing along to music. And I think once it gets to that part, that's where things fall for me.
Yeah. And the problem is that I think that I would have enjoyed the concept had it continued.
Yes, I agree.
And I know that's difficult to do, especially when, you know, with the exception of beautiful Thugga girls, you're not used to doing this kind of music for a whole album. I get it, but it's just really poor when you try to lean into a concept and then you give up halfway, or you give up a third of the way into the album. It looks really bad. And I feel like that's what's happened here. Yeah. And maybe some people listening at home are like, and if this is you, let us know. Punk didn't suggest that the album was going to be kind of like sonically cohesive, but he's talking about how he's always on the outside, or like he's always kind of acting different to other people, and he's like a trailblazer, and I can see that, but I don't see that in those tracks. Like I've listened to them and I'm not sure where he's saying that. Do you get what I mean? Like, so if sonically and thematically it's not there, I'm not sure where the theme's gone.
I don't know where it is either, to be honest. I think No, I don't. I just don't see it. It just sounds. That's me. I don't know. I think Young Thug is a punk by nature, but I think when you're calling it punk, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm expecting just a lot more. Like, for example, when I listen to Kenny Mason, who's also from Atlanta, I'm thinking, yeah, this guy is a punk. This guy is way outside of generic rap. This guy feels like a bit of a rock star. So I was expecting maybe more stuff on that, because I think I've already seen it happen. I'm seeing it happen. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, we've got someone like Kenny Mason doing that. Like, maybe Young Thug probably knows who he is at this point. Maybe he's kind of putting from that, do you know what I mean? But no, we didn't get none of that, to be honest. So.
Even if you like named an earlier mixtape that, or like, say he hadn't had 20 mixtapes and he brought out his first studio album and calls that punk because he's like cementing like, boom, this is me. Everyone you hearing around me are variations, iterations of my music and my sound. And I've got some of them on the album. You can hear, they're part of my style. But the fact that it's come so late on that he's done it, and that he's got one foot in to his old bag, and he's got one foot into this new style, it just doesn't work. I
agree.
Yeah, doesn't work for me. But yeah, you guys, you should get in touch with us, obviously, on Twitter at TVC Pod. Instagram, Vinyl Collective Pod. Email us, vinylcollectivepod@gmail.com. Leave us a comment on YouTube, on Spotify. We'll ask a couple of questions. You can respond to that. But yeah, interested to hear what you guys think of this one.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, Slantalk, we love you, but maybe there is a good thing Iris couldn't make it, do you know what I mean? Because he probably was like, what the fuck?
Some good tracks, which we've given credit to, but we review albums here, I'm afraid, and it doesn't stand up.
To close out the episode, as per usual, we have our coveted Now and Then playlist. We have a second one because the first one is just too fucking fat. Do you know what I mean? We've just got so many songs now. What I mean, so we're having the second one to commemorate our second year doing this fantastic show. So we add a song where it's probably more recent, like, oh, this song just came out, this is pretty cool. And we have a song that's a bit more of a throwback, like, oh, this song's really old, but I still bump it here and there. So I will start as I did the week before. So my now song, I had one song that I really liked that I probably want to put on. So I think it's a now. Let me just check the date of it. It's a song by John Doe. Yes, it is. Belly. Love that song.
Cool.
Go and check her out.
Yeah.
I think we spoke about it before in terms of Chicago scene. I think we pronounced it Jean Doe, but hearing it in song, it's actually called her name John Doe. So
okay.
Go and check her out. Yeah. And then, see, this is where it always gets hard, isn't it? I think this song is a Ven, but I'm gonna check this one as well. No, it's not. Give me. So, do your now, then I'll come back with the then.
Cool.
I'll come back with it.
My now song is from an album called Coke Le Rock by Sonny Jim and Buck Wild. The song is called The Process. It has Lord Apex on there as well. Obviously, if you're familiar with like the equivalent underground scene in the UK, once you kind of done your dues, you listen to Nux, and then you dive a little bit deeper. Okay. You find Finn Foxell, Caddy Art, and then you look a little bit deeper, you'll probably find Lord Apex. And yeah, I've kind of been listening to albums, like we say, we listen to a lot of albums, and then I just thought, last week, similar to that album challenge, I thought I would upload a list every week, of albums that I've listened to, and yeah, like I enjoyed a couple of tracks of this album, so The Process I'll go with, and then my throwback song is gonna be Death Wish by Jadakiss and Lil Wayne, which is produced by The Alchemist.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. My Ven song would be Video Girl by FK Twigs.
Cool.
LP1 still slaps, by the way.
It does.
like probably has to be one of my favorite albums in the past 10 years, for sure. But go and check that out. Cool. That'll be us for now. Next week will be a bit different. Our co-host here will be on stateside, kind of doing the Lord's work, getting more fans. We're on the ground, you see. He's going to do some recruitment over in the States.
This is all
for us.
Travel and subsistence costs,
see?
Yeah.
Exactly. The Vinyl Collective pays for travel if you want to sign up. So so it's going to go on for a couple of weeks. So when we move on to next week, Jonathan won't be here for the intros, but we will have some episodes for you. Don't worry about that. You'll still get to see
We've got you.
John's lovely voice. So yeah, if you just hear me on the intro talking shit, or if John comes back and there's no show because I've somehow cancelled us, that I'm letting you know now. So so it should be some fun. But yeah, as per usual, we'll see you next week.
Of course. Thanks for listening.